Okay, and we are live.
Are we live? Oh, hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hi.
Hi. It is obviously Thursday again for another career pop-up Q&A.
Yeah.
So if you see our faces, it's Thursday. You know it's Thursday, which means the weekend is almost here. Yeah. So
Didn't think of it that way,
everyone.
but yeah.
So, yeah, we are. This is streaming on Facebook. Wait, let me get through my thing first. I don't know. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and if you have any questions, well, basically, you haven't seen this before. It's where we kind of answer your questions live, career-related questions live. So if you have a question, just ask in the comments below, and we just pick it up and we'll just answer them. So in the meantime, say hello if you can see us. Just say hello in the comments below, and let's get this started.
Yeah. All right. So before we begin our session, I just want to let everyone know that Myra is hiring. So Myra is actually a property developer with about 30 years of experience, and they are looking for people to join their team. It's a really cool place. They got really cool benefits like free Uniqlo work outfits for all employees, and also like you get to claim for medical, you get free like laptops for work and stuff like that. So if you're looking for work, feel free to check out Myra. All right. So let's begin.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wear Uniqlo. I love to work there.
I also wear
wonder if
Uniqlo today.
Yeah. I wonder if they're hiring a founder.
So there's a lot of people saying hi. Hi, Ananta.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
Darshi.
Hello, everyone.
So if you have any
Maling
questions,
Jerome.
yeah. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. We can actually see it, and we'll try to answer them today. So I think let's start with the first question. So this question is about, are introverts at a disadvantage in the workplace? So this person wrote in saying, I am an introverted and soft-spoken person. I find it hard to compete with my peers who are loud and able to speak well. So very often I will be overlooked for certain opportunities because I do not stand out. Does this mean I will always lose out because I'm introverted? I can't change my personality, but I want to succeed too. Please help.
Maybe I can answer this. So I'm also an introvert. I am a very deep introvert, in fact. So I think that the issue is not so much that you're an introvert. I think the issue is more that in order to succeed in the workplace and to work well within the team, a large group of people, you need to communicate very well. That's very important. So the advantage an extroverted has, let's say, when it comes to communication over introverts, that they're more willing to talk and share, right? But it doesn't mean they have good communication, you know. You know what? I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Because like just because they have more of the they tend to speak more than you do, it doesn't mean they're sharing ideas better than you do. Sometimes because they are naturally such good speakers, they may not necessarily understand what they're doing well and what they're not doing well. So when it comes to communicating, so if communication doesn't come naturally to you, actually it's an opportunity for you to understand it a little bit deeper. Study it as a technique, right? If I want to share an idea, actually, what is the best way for me to share that idea? So you're more thoughtful in your communication, right? So actually, in that sense, you have an advantage, but you have to be willing to want to try to communicate, right? This is very important. There are lots of business leaders out there who are self-proclaimed introverts, and they do very well, right? They can lead teams. They speak publicly. But they speak when they need to speak, and they understand the technique behind speaking and communicating. So hopefully that helps you.
My thought on this is because the question is asking whether introverts are at disadvantage. I don't think so. In fact, I think both introverts and extroverts has like their pros and cons. In my opinion, I think extroverts listen to respond. Most extroverts listen to respond. Introverts are most likely really listening. For example, let's say you're in a meeting or something like that. You don't really speak up, but you are listening and taking in everything that the person is saying, and you're processing it. And basically, if you do respond, you have a more fully thought out response as compared to extroverts who are louder. Right? You think that they are having an advantage in a meeting because they're louder than you, but in fact your response is actually could be better than theirs. Yeah, because you listen so well.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. In
Yeah.
fact, I think modern leadership is very much geared towards a very empathetic style of leader rather than the very authoritarian, you do it my way kind of leader. So yeah, if you have very good listening skills, naturally good listening skills, that may be an advantage, right?
So Arifa actually has a reply to this saying that she expresses her ideas better through writing instead of speaking on the spot. So sort of echoing what you said, Arifa, if writing is a better way for you to communicate, you can always send your superiors a message. When you want to share an idea, instead of just talking to them, you can send them a text or even an email. So there are various ways that an introvert can sort of express themselves. And I also agree with Eleanor that not like doesn't just because you're an introvert doesn't mean you're disadvantaged. There are certain types of jobs where definitely an extrovert will be at an advantage. For example, public speaking roles or more client-facing roles. But there are a lot of things where introverts are tend to be more detailed and more detail-oriented and more specific, and they are more organized. So I think in certain fields, they definitely do have an advantage. It just depends on how you communicate at the end of the day. Yeah. Sam, do you have any thoughts?
I think what I would say is I'm similar in the sense that I think better, not when I write, but when I speak it out to somebody. So it's sort of like same lah, right? So what I learned for myself is sometimes you just have to write it out or to speak it. And I understand that sometimes you might feel that, oh, somebody else is pitching their idea first. So it might come off as, oh, they have a better idea, or since they already gave their idea, might as well go with that. But I think what I've learned is it's okay to take your time to think about your own idea. Like speak
of the so-called disadvantages I've personally experienced, right? So again, to Arifa, right, you mentioned about writing. I think it's a great start, but at the end of the day, you still need to learn how to talk, though. It's still important. It's a good start that you first try to express through writing, but at some point you have to learn how to talk. So what I mean is that whatever nervousness that you're saying you blank, right? You blank out sometimes due to nervousness. It's just due to a lack of practice. When you get used to it, when you're so used to just expressing your opinion repeatedly, the first few times will be horrible. You might have like cold sweat, your hand might shake, I don't know what, but you have to kind of force yourself to go through it. And after a few times, you start to realize that, hey, that wasn't so bad. That's okay, I'm getting better at this. So what you could do is you could plan in writing roughly what you want to say, roughly, right? And then, but instead of sending it in writing, you speak it. Right? Go to the person and you speak what you wrote. So having that plan ahead might give you some confidence about what you want to share. And you may not be able to respond as quickly, but over time you will be, right? You'll get used to it. So I strongly encourage everyone to try to, communicate in person. There are a lot of advantages at the workplace if you're able to do that. Okay, let's go to the next question.
All right, cool. So we have a question from Kelvin. So Kelvin is asking how to differentiate a leader from a manager in the workplace. Which is more important? Well, technically, a manager should ideally also be a leader. I think what you're sort of asking is like, what's the difference between a leader and a boss? I think that's the idea.
So before, I'm going to say something again. Sorry. The reason I want to say this is because I see a very common. It's been going on for years. This concept of leader versus manager. Like leader is good, manager is bad. Leader is good, manager is bad. Leader is good, boss is bad. But actually, in reality, right, in the workplace, very often you kind of need a combination of personalities. So let me explain what I mean. Trying to achieve an objective is very tough, right? So there are lots of ups and downs. You're making mistakes. People are making mistakes across the office. So the persona of the leader, right, is someone that is like very inspiring, very like, hey, this is the vision. Let's go, right? And the reality is sometimes this kind of personality, they're also not looking at your detail of your work. So it's very easy for this person to be inspiring. I hope that makes sense, right? And they're also not correcting whatever mistake you're doing also, because they're just so focused on like forward-looking future, right? And sometimes it might feel good to work for someone like this, but if you don't have a manager, I'm using manager in the context I'm using it, to kind of balance this out, it's very hard for you to grow personally also. So a manager is the kind of person, so people managers, that means they're paying attention to your work, the detail, they're telling you what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. Sometimes they're upset at you for mistakes that you're making. And when they're upset at you, you remember they're upset at you. And then you realize, I shouldn't be doing it like this. So, and you do need a combination of both. I think what happens a lot is in some organizations where it's very heavily skewed to one type, which is everyone's like a boss kind of person. Everyone's angry at something all the time. Then it sucks, right? You want to be an organization like that. But in the ideal world, you should have both though in your company. And I think that will actually help. It's a good balance to help everyone grow, even personally.
I have a very odd opinion on this. I don't think there's one better than the other. To me, it depends on your personality. Some people work better with fear. So there are a lot of people who don't really listen to people unless they respect or fear them. So for these kind of individuals, having a manager will actually push them to their highest potential, would actually make them work harder. Because they think like, oh, my manager is sort of like my friend. I'm not very scared. I'm not very afraid, but very chill. And you become very complacent. So in the end, it depends on your personality. If you're a person who hates being ordered around, then maybe somebody who can speak to you on like an eye-to-eye level would work better for you. Like they'll inspire you better. So it depends on your personality. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I think no. If you ask everyone, do you prefer someone that speaks eye to eye with you? Like, everyone will almost certainly prefer that. Yeah. But then the question is like, does it work for you or not in your career? Are you doing well under this person? So those are important questions you should ask. Sometimes it might be uncomfortable feeling to realize that you need someone to push you in order for you to grow. It's self-awareness, right? You don't realize it's like carrot and stick. And for me, even right now, like I'm building a company, all that, there are moments where the stick is useful to me too, So there are moments where, there is some form of control for something I shouldn't be doing. Say, investor, is upset at me about something, for example, and it's kind of wake up call. Oh, right, you're right. I shouldn't be doing it. So it's good. It's not to say that you. Everyone will always say, I want this inspiring person, but it's not necessarily a good thing just to have this only. And not the stick sometimes.
I also think that it's good to not depend fully on the leader or the boss or the manager that at your workplace. You should use them as a guide. They are guiding you to grow, right? And you should depend on your own self-discipline. You should build your own discipline as well. Because if you keep depending on your boss, what are the chances of you finding the right boss who matches every single thing that you do at work, matches you completely, your personality and all of that. So you have to depend on your own self-discipline as well.
Yeah. All right. So Sam, do you have any opinions?
Not really.
Okay, cool. Then we move on to the next question.
To the next question.
Yeah. So the next question is from Shafiq. Shafiq is asking, the job offered is for entry level, but they mentioned that you need 3 years or more job experience. What is your opinion?
Employers do these silly things sometimes. That is our opinion. And the suggestion I have for you is, apply anyway. They said entry level, so hopefully you get an interview. Now, when they do decide to interview you, I want to point out that in most cases, the employer is not looking at their job description while they interview you. Also, once you're in the door, you just have to impress them enough for them to realize that you can do the job. You have the potential to do the job. So the job description is out of the way already by then. So don't worry too much about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's quite simple. I think a lot of the times they put this because they want somebody, actually a lot of the times this happens is because they always copy and paste job descriptions from somewhere or from their previous job ad, and they never change the experience level. So if it's stated there clearly in the job title that it's entry level, I don't think there's any harm or any danger of you applying. Yeah, it's pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this
Yeah,
is quite quick.
that's a straightforward question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
we can
straightforward.
move to the next one. So Carissa is asking, realistically speaking, how important are our academic achievements, i.e. grades, results, CPGA, average in the workplace? Does it significantly weigh in on our value during the hiring process?
I think to a certain extent it does, but at the same time, I think employers are looking out more for who you are more than your grades. So, for example, like your extracurricular activities, anything that you've done outside of your academics, right? That can really add value to you as a person. I think they are looking more for that compared to just looking at CGPA. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, and ultimately your CGPA and stuff like that, right? Is like it's part of a package of who you are, lah. You know, when the employer is looking at your CV. So to say that it doesn't matter is not true. Obviously, it does matter. But like Sam says, they look at everything though. So if you don't have a strong CGPA, you're not from a like super famous university, there's still ways you can impress them on your CV to try to get the interview, because that's as far as the CV can get you, only to the interview. Then after that is your interview skills already. Right? So the CGPA goes into the CV opens the door to an interview, but that's the extent of it, more or less.
Yeah, but that's saying you should still work hard in school, because I mean, not everyone is going to be a full A-star student, stuff like that, but you don't want to be like a 1.0 CGPA. That will raise a lot of questions. If you're not serious about school, how can I hire you? How can I expect you to be a good employee at my company? That kind of mindset. So you have to keep in mind, you don't have to always be the best, but you should at least make sure that you do try your best and at least be average.
Yeah, pretty much covered up everything.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next.
So we can move on to the next question. Okay. So this is a question from Daphne. So Daphne is asking how to enhance/improve yourself in order to successfully secure a job for a fresh graduate. Does working experience stand a better chance of getting hired by the employer than one who doesn't?
Yeah, letting you all go first, so I don't always go. And by the way, right, so I think we have like 12 minutes left. So if you have any question, you can ask in the comments below, and we'll pick it up and we'll answer them. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, you guys go first.
So working experience if you have any working experience prior, is always better. As compared, let's say there's two fresh graduates, one without any working experience before, no part-time, whatever, and then there's you with a fresh grad, but with say part-time or any like full-time experience that you've had before this. Chances are employers are going to favor you, because you have like sort of tapped into the working world a little bit. You kind of understand how things work. And also, in fact, if you, let's say you did like a sales job and you achieved the sales target previously in your previous company and all of that, that could also give you kind of like a 1 foot in the door, you know. If let's say you're comparing like two of the same candidate, like fresh grads, but one without experience and one with, yeah. How to successfully secure a job for fresh graduate? I think you should, like what Sam said.
This is a very big question.
Yeah, it's a very broad thing. Like there's so many things
Yeah.
Right? Like co-curricular activities at in school. Let's say if you were in a management team in your whatever college committee or something, that shows leadership as well, you know, which is also a plus when it comes to interviews. Yeah.
I think building on what, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam. Go.
I think building on what Eleanor is saying, so like with your extracurricular activities and all that, and I think if there are any like projects that you are working on as well, like for example, you don't have a graphic design background, but you have a passion or you have an interest in doing it, and you're looking towards a graphic design job, for example, and because you don't have technically the experience, but you have your own project, so you can add the work that you've done in your portfolio and stuff like that. And I think that will really help boost your CV as well.
Yeah, I think to sort of summarize what Eleanor and Sam has said, having working experience will definitely help you to stand out from other fresh graduates, because fresh graduates are assumed to have zero experience. So if you do have it, it gives you a leg up. But in terms of helping you enhance and improve your chances of securing a job, there's a lot of things you need to do. For example, being very serious about your CV, making sure you craft a good one, having including any good experiences from your co-curricular activities, projects, interests, having a good CV, or even creating a video cover letter to stand out from like people who are just writing in like normal cover letters. There's so many things that you can actually do. You just need to like go online and start searching on things that you can focus on. Yeah, I think that will really help. Yeah. Derek, do you have any things?
I'm good. I'm getting
All
you all covered everything.
All right, cool. So we can get on to this next question from Darshini. So Darshini is asking, how can Gen Y grow in a Gen X populated team? This is, I think, Derek, you might be the best one to answer.
Ooh, how can Gen Y
But
grow in a
Derek,
Gen?
Derek, you Gen X? No, I don't think so. I think he's like the end of Gen Y.
I'm on the line.
Yeah.
So I think the line is between 1981 and 1982. So I'm born in December 1981. So literally on the line lah. So I understand both worlds. I guess I'm on TikTok, so even Gen Z also I can do. I can do Gen Z
You
too.
heard it right here.
Yeah.
Derek is on TikTok.
No, I'm just watching TikTok. I'm not posting anything. I'm trying to understand the question. So when you say how can a Gen Y grow in a Gen X populated, one thing I have to kind of caution against is to kind of generalize everyone based on their generation they were in. So you're saying because you're Gen Y, you're a certain style, and then because all the rest of the community is Gen X, they are a certain style. So it's not very helpful to think in those terms, because you also don't want people to kind of stereotype you, right? Oh, you're Gen Y, therefore all the 1 billion Gen Y in the world all act and behave and think in the same way. But it's absolutely not true, right? It's not true at all. So I think what you're trying to say is that you're a very young person in your company, right? And a lot of people in your company are very mature lah. So and maybe not being the young person sometimes, I imagine, because I don't have context from your question, I imagine it might be harder to command credibility or respect because they have so much more experience than you, they work longer than you, right? Which is true, I suppose. I mean, this is a fact. You have less experience than them. You cannot deny this fact. But it therefore means that you have to work harder, I guess, to be able to show that you know your stuff. You have to do your homework when you present your ideas, show that you matter, show that you take your work seriously and you research things properly. Don't go with the idea, you're an old person and try to share an idea. So what I'm trying, give you a simple example, right? Yeah, I don't want a situation where someone tries to share an idea with their leader, their manager, or boss, and the boss says, I don't think that's a good idea. And immediately you jump to a conclusion that you're a Gen X and you don't get it, right? And that's not helpful to you at all. Maybe you're not sharing your idea properly, right? Maybe you're not, you're not able to relate help your Gen X teammates understand why your idea is useful. So don't kind of immediately in your mind, at least mentally, like put them down as like old people that don't get it. Instead figure out how you can try to communicate better, relate better with them, try to look at things from their point of view. And if you want the respect and credibility, right, you have to work harder to get it. I have a lot of people who are much younger than me, which I respect a lot, right? I know that like they are amazing. They are really hardworking, very smart, and I think, wow, they're going to go very far in their career. So it's nothing to do with age one. It's just your general personality. So it's okay. So you can still do it. But having said that, of course, yes, there are some challenges when you are very young in a group that is like much more mature and older than you. there will be challenges. I mean, you always, sometimes it's very natural for people to treat you like, oh, you're the little kid in the office, you know, so you have to work around that.
Yeah, I think I don't really have any
kind of
opinion on
covers
this.
it, right?
I
I
think we
think
covered
so.
most of it.
And in WOBB, right, by the way, it's flipped, it's completely reversed, right? I think I'm one of the few Gen X in a very Gen Y populated team. So I'm sharing this from personal experience. I'm actually trying to relate to the younger team from my point of view, you know, so they don't see me like this old person who cannot change his mind. So, yeah.
I think something that people don't realize is also our leaders, our bosses are trying to understand younger people as well. It's just that it might be a bit harder because they're so used to how things are done for so many years. It might be hard to change their mindset straight away. Yeah. But you know, just try to understand each other and like compromise with each other. And I think eventually you'll get there. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So this question is from Sindhu. Hello, what are the criteria in a company we should look for when we apply for a job? I think exactly what Sindhu is asking is, are there ideal criteria or like things that we should look out for in a company when we are applying for a job?
What are the criteria we should look out for when we apply for a job?
So, like what a company should have before I apply for one of their jobs. In my opinion, I think it depends on you. For example,
The question is like, what do you want?
What do you want? Yeah. Everyone has a different working style, so a different company might work for them. For example, somebody who likes more structure, who want to work in a big corporate company where things are very fixed. It's a 9 to 5 job. Some people are a bit more free-spirited. They don't like to be wearing like office wear all the time. So maybe a startup would be better for them. So what are you looking for? There's no ideal company because there's no ideal person either. There's so many different types of people. There are equally different types of companies that fit them. Yeah.
But having said that, I think there are also like some basic stuff that you should make sure the company fulfills. For example, like you should do background search on the company, you know, whether the company is legit, whether the company has good company culture, you know, and is the turnover rate very high? Like are all the employees in the company all new? If the company is like 10 years old and then like all the companies are like new, like few months old, all of them, then there's something not very right with the company. Yeah, I think these are some of the little things that you should take note on.
Sam,
There anything to add?
there is like.
I think you guys kind of covered everything really. I think generally it's just make sure you do your research and know what you want, and when you're doing your research, know what you're looking out for. So you sort of like check the boxes, so to speak.
Yeah,
and then you can hop on to workjobs.com and check out the company profiles that we
have.
But for real though, for real.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why the answer is a bit generic is because, you know, like how we started the answer, like it really depends on you. Like people are looking for different things, so it's very difficult to answer the question without first understanding what do you want, right? What are you looking for? And also that's why you should go to workjobs.com. Go to
like a bit of self-promo, but it's for real.
Yeah, we are self-promo now. But actually this ties in very well to why we exist, because if you look on WOBB, right, you actually see a lot of profiles of different employers, and they're all different. They all have their own personality, they all have their own story, just like you, just like how you're different. So when you're actually browsing through these different kind of employers, it helps give you a sense of, oh, maybe I like this type of company, right? So you can do that as a starting point if you're not sure what you want.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to find a company whose message resonates with you. For example, I have friends who are very into recycling and like going green. They would never want to work for an oil company or maybe like tobacco company, for example, because it goes against what they believe in. And I actually do have friends who are working in an oil company, but it's because it's a good job opportunity, but they don't really resonate with the company's message or the ideas. So they feel like they're not doing it to their fullest potential as well. So at the end of the day, maybe one thing you can think of is, okay, what do I want to achieve in my own life? Can this company sort of help me achieve that? I mean, perhaps that's something that can help you think of, or like, oh, like what kind of a working lifestyle do I like? Does this company fit what I want in terms of work-life balance or stuff like that? Yeah, just things like that could help you figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
I think we are good. It's exactly 1 o'clock now.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone so much for asking questions. Again, we're up here every Thursday at 12:30, answering your career-related questions live. So join us again next week. If you like this, if you enjoyed this, and want us to do it again, just give us a like, a thumbs up, or if you want your friends to see this, share it wherever you're watching this right now. So hopefully that they can come and join us also next time.
Mm-hmm. And if you have any suggestions for us to improve the show, make it better, you can also leave it there, and we'll actually take a look at it, and we'll try to make our weekly pop-up Q&A even more interesting. But for those that are looking for a job, again, Myra is hiring on WOBB. So they are actually, if you're looking for a cool company to join, they are really cool. They give their employer really good benefits. Even though they have 30 years of experience, if you look at their company, they are actually really modern. And they have like cool benefits like Uniqlo, free Uniqlo clothes for their employees. So check them out. You can go to wobbjobs.com/Myra. But also for those that didn't get their questions answered, Eleanor, would you like to introduce Offwork to them?
Yeah, so we have reached the end of the pop-up Q&A live session for this week. But don't worry, if you have any more questions, we will be answering them for the next 30 minutes at Offwork. So you can just head on to wobbjobs.com/offwork, Offwork with an E, and we will give you any career advice that you're looking for. So just drop by and our team will be there with you for the next 30 minutes.
All right, okay. So until next week, we'll see you then. All right,
See you then. Bye. Bye.